Welcome on back, everybody. I hope you've gotten your popcorn, gotten your dinner at 12:30 p.m. because we have playoffs here to bring to you today. Again, it is the ACEC Qualifier tournament where the winner of this gets a bid to the CECC Championship in Arlington, Texas. A fun place to be. I'm sure. Never been there myself, though. But either way, we do have a lot of exciting matches. Again, these will be best of 3, with the grand finals being best of 5. What do we have first on the docket?
First on the docket, not quite sure yet, but I do know
Georgia Tech, Louisville.
Oh,
at least is what it said on the graphic.
Oh well,
we're working with.
Look at him. He's already on top of things. On top of that mountain.
That's right, because it's on the mountain. Look. Oh, don't get me started.
No, it's okay. But yeah, no, I mean, now that we're in this bracket stage, right? This is going to be double elimination, so keep that in mind. If your favorite team gets knocked out in this round, they're not quite out yet. So that is going to be one of the good things. However, after this seeding has been done, you're definitely going to see teams like Syracuse go up against teams like Wake Forest. And those are going to be some scary matches. Well, actually, no, you won't see Syracuse go up against Wake Forest first because they have a bye. But you might see Miami go up against Wake Forest, Clemson go up against Louisville, right? These types of matches that are going to be very, very crucial, and where some of these teams that maybe haven't had the best of luck in that group stage can come out on top and really put a wedge into some of these teams and make it a little bit difficult.
That's right, because the group stage, and the pressure isn't as on, especially in a group stage where it's kind of just for seeding, right? You know that you're all going to get a chance to go in the playoffs, and when you get to Championship Sunday, it's a whole different feel, right? It is. Like you laugh at me. You laugh at what I'm saying to you, but it does have the game completely changes. Everybody knows when the pressure's on the line, when it's win or go home. Yeah, you play really differently. And like we said before, I mean, Alec from Georgia Tech, sitting, he had 9 last time.
Doubled it. Now 9 again, just to make it okay. I'm curious. I want to see this. I need to see a Georgia Tech Syracuse game. You know, I predicted a Syracuse Clemson game earlier, but I mean, I'm curious, right? I mean, with this, right? Eventually, we will see Georgia Tech. Okay, I'm not going to say that.
The bracket, I think the way the bracket, and again, I'm not completely positive, but I'm pretty sure the way the bracket is set up, Syracuse would converge with Georgia Tech in the finals if they both were to make it.
I mean, good thing is we finally get to see Alec, what all the hype is about. Right? The first match, Georgia Tech and Louisville. Now, okay, Louisville. The thing with this game, right, is one of the things that is going to be scary is we saw a lot of good saves. Yeah. Right? I mean, was it 2 players, I believe? 5, 8, and 7?
Yeah, a lot of saves for a lot of people.
Yeah, but on the side of Georgia Tech, right, are these saves going to be good enough against players like Alec, who are going to be throwing in 18 goals?
18 is a lot more than even the next highest. Honestly, I don't think if you added up everybody on that, if it equaled up to 19, because I'm pretty sure Syracuse had Pat and Mason with 9 and 5. Yeah. And then we had a little bit less, but no matter, because we finally get to see what this Alec hype is all about. His teammates will be Jonzo and Trains taking on Joby-Wan, Kenobi, Keegan, and Steels in this as we start the playoffs of this tournament.
You know, it's one of my favorite things about esports compared to sports is, you know, in sports, you know, you got first and last names. I mean,
sometimes you got some funny names too, but
in esports, you always get to have
don't have Joby-Wan, Kenobi, Keegan, and Steele on the same team for as we see Louisville trying to fight up, get this ball, but let's see if the dominating pressure from Alec is going to continue in this playoff match. Again, Keegan now, Louisville has the ball in Georgia Tech zone, so want to be a little bit careful there, try and maybe get it out and see what all this hype is about, and it feels like we might start having an offensive push. Alec tries to hit it in across the net, but Keegan up, flies and meets it in the air, steals there to hit the ball up for his teammate. Joby-Wan, a shot on the net, flying across, isn't able to get to it. I think it was Trains who was able to get the tap in, but it didn't really matter. The ball from that initial touch from Joby-Wan finds the back of the cage.
And just like the Force, it was able to find its way into the bottom right of that goal. Now,
The Force was able to find its way to the bottom right. This is true.
and now with this, right, Georgia Tech, a team that we've definitely been hyping up, right, especially with players like Alec who have 18 goals already, right? A player like that who has such an incredible prowess, right, on this mechanical skill, and now you're down one, right? You're down one, and what do you do here, right? How do you find your way back when a team like Louisville is already putting on so much pressure, and you're three and a half left, right?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be tough. Louisville wants to keep, they know, it's no secret that they're the lower seed here, right? It's no secret that Georgia Tech Alec has scored 18 goals. Both these players, even though they might not know the exact number, they know the fives. And Alec, I mean, looking to find number 19, just feels like found himself in just a nice, solid, it doesn't feel like anything remarkable happened here, but just really solid play.
I like the patience.
Yeah.
That is not something we've seen from any of the teams today.
Just sitting there.
They all go fast, right? They all go at full speed.
Rocket League cargo bird.
Exactly. You know, they go boom boom. Alec did not, right? Alec is on their energy car arc and is playing rather safe and was waited for Louisville to make a mistake with that commitment of the defense. And because of that, Alec was able to find a beautiful goal and even up the series.
Yeah, they were able to take it. Now 1-to-1 Trains finds the demo on to Steele. I really love that name. Alec is able to find it though, find the touch, get it back into the end, and they're flying, trying to keep up the pressure with this ball. The tap comes in, the shot, barely gonna miss, and Steele hits it away to be even sure. Jonzo now flying through the middle, looking to get the boost, but Trains hits it in. Jobiwan's gonna have to go up there and contest at this level. Players like Jobiwan will find that every single day of the week. Now, Alec looks for number 20, but no. Louisville responds. Trains now with the tap off the ground, sends it over Steele's head and into the net.
Yeah, so we saw some great saves. Louisville had 2 players up there on the highest saves, but now we're not seeing many saves. We saw a really, really powerful commit coming out from him, and due to that reason, we didn't see a save coming in, and now Georgia Tech on the upper foot here for the first time in this series. Remember, folks, still a best of 3 and still game number 1, so a lot can happen. 2 minutes left. It's been a rather active game for a game that's so I mean, it's quiet in time.
Yeah, right. 3 minutes and 4 seconds now spent on the clock. Georgia Tech is able to kind of regain the spot that they might have expected themselves in. Another shot comes in from Trains, but it is going to be sent away. Keegan finds the demo. Trains respawns right on top of that boost. Quick 100 for them. Gets the tap in towards the goal. Keegan able to find it, send it away, but now Alec, looking for number 20, is able to just massage the ball in between 2 players from Louisville.
Alec, a great shot here, spreads the needle right between and is able to find it.
So what about that? Is it the shot placement? Were they able to kind of send it not to where Louisville's expecting, or what?
I think it's more the fact that Alec is just very good at predicting what the ball is going to do, where it's going to be, and positions himself in the best way possible, right? Alec is always ready wherever that ball is. Normally not positioned midfield, right? We see a lot of players, especially like players like Gavilon, who position themselves middle of the field, right? But when we come to players like Alec is a little bit further forward, right? A little bit more in the side of the opposing team's field, and
we almost saw 21.
Alec wants to take that top score. Even if Georgia Tech manages to lose and not make their way to the CECC championship there, Alec wants to have the most goals in this tournament.
Alec, I think, is going to have the most goals in this tournament, barring something freaky. But Louisville trying to respond because they don't want to go down this easy. Again, this is single elimination. You lose, you're out. The ball gets sent right back towards Louisville, who are now starting their offensive push in. Alec finds the right spot, able to get it in, but Steele on the rebound, able to play not for the first shot, play for the second tap back.
Yeah, Louisville is not out of this game yet, right? 37 seconds is more than enough time in Rocket League to get 1 goal. Not only that, but remember, as long as that ball doesn't touch the ground at 0 seconds, it is in play indefinitely, right? So Louisville definitely has a chance to bring this game to an overtime, and we are in the bracket stage here, right? So it's even more it's more of a mental tax, right? Because now you're in the playoffs, you're going against a team that, off of seeding, should beat you, right? You're going up against a player who has more scores than anyone else in the game.
Yep.
You know, and now what do, right? How do you bring this back? And okay, cool. Steal.
All right. So what on earth happened? Georgia Tech. Oh no, Trains just missed. Trains was going up to try and meet Steele in the air to take that ball, to take that control, to kind of send it away, but just missed. I mean, those mechanical little mishaps can happen every which way, but we're tied now.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said earlier, right? This is where teams, you know, there should be logic, right? Who should win this? Georgia Tech, right? But you have teams who are in these playoffs, in these bracket stages, and they're like, no, I want to ruin everyone's chances. And this is a team that, before the stream, I said we may see a team like Louisville come out of nowhere and beat some of these high-level teams.
Steele, Joby Wan, and Keegan really trying to make their play forward. Keegan, with a little air shenanigans, is going to be sent away by Alec with a... Oh my God! Jonzo's able to pick up the shot, the pass from far away. And as soon as this overtime started, it's over.
What a pinch. Right off the top, able to find the goal. Georgia Tech, they saw Louisville, they were ready. And just like that, able to find that goal.
Sometimes it really is that simple, right?
Yeah.
We've seen, I guess that was the third overtime we've seen today.
Yes.
And the other two went pretty long. They went 2-3 minutes, but no, sometimes overtime can really be that simple. When you lose track of the rotations, when you're playing a long game, it's so easy to kind of forget where you are.
Yeah.
And Louisville kind of forgot, and Georgia Tech immediately able to capitalize.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things with overtime, right? Because we've seen so many of them. We might as well talk about it a little bit.
That's right.
Is when you're in overtime, so many things go through your head, right? Now it's golden goal. First goal wins, right? Now there is no more time limit. It's just forever. There's what rotations worked for us, what rotations didn't work for us. I mechanically messed up. You know, 5 minutes ago, right? Can I not do that again? What are they doing? There's so many things that are traveling through your head. You have to be calm. You have to be collected. You have to be ready, but you can't overstimulate yourself with all of these different thoughts going through your head because, frankly, you just got to play the way you were playing.
You got to remember that, right? If you're in overtime, it's because you were tied.
Exactly.
So you got to just kind of try and keep that pressure, that train, whatever you were doing in the first game. To some degree it works. You don't gotta switch it up.
You don't.
And I feel like that's like when you see a short overtime versus a long one, that's kind of how you can tell, right? Are both teams really just kind of playing their style until one breaks, or is one team trying to switch it up like Louisville? Alec, I mean, right off the start, Jonzo off of Alec's first tap is able to start us off 6 seconds in.
Yeah, and if you're Louisville, right? That overtime, that may have gotten to you a little bit, right? And now you've lost that first goal, right? That first shot, 6 seconds in, Georgia Tech, they know what they need to do, right? They know that if they continue to just keep the pressure on the Louisville and they continue to just make these good passes and force Louisville to take the triple commits or even double commits with just unfortunate rotations, they're going to win, right? And that's what Georgia Tech is doing at the moment, is they're just making it very, very difficult for Louisville to really try and make anything possible, and we're seeing it through these players. And the thing with Georgia Tech is all of them are doing everything, right? We're seeing goals from everyone. We're seeing attempts from everyone.
Trains has now, I think Trains and Jonzo, I mean, Alec has, what, 2 goals throughout these two games,
so,
I think Jonzo just picked up a second as well. So not everybody is only doing one thing. Like you said, the multifaceted team that's able to play smarter. Alec with the demo, the ball's flying up. Jonzo looks to get it, but Steele able to get a nice clear back to Georgia Tech's end. Joby Wan in the air now, could find something. Steele's able to get it away to the side, disrupt Alec and Jonzo's kind of approach for the ball in the air. Now Steele maybe gets a tap that they didn't quite want, and it's going to go right back to Georgia Tech.
Yeah, a lot less goals than last round, right? Now remember, Georgia Tech 1 match from going forward into this bracket stage. Louisville will fall into the lower bracket if they are not able to find this win here. But, I mean, we've seen very competitive games, right? And we've seen matches that just go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And we saw that in the previous one, right? And right now, once again, at Rocket League, every game is different. No game is going to be the same. Everything is going to change. And Louisville now, you just went off of a 3-4 loss, right? In overtime, right? You did a good job. You put players like Alec in their spot. You've made it difficult for them to do anything.
But again, the touch-in. Okay, great job from Louisville. Able to recollect on that defensive effort to try and stop it. Alec right back in with the demo onto Keegan. That's going to be a few more seconds till Keegan can get back out there on the pitch, and they manage to. Now Alec, again, from the left side, looking to try and make the play up on the edge. But Joby1's going to be in the air. Train's there to pick it up. Sending it back in, looking to get a good touch on the net. But Steele doesn't want to let it happen. Alec tries to contest in the air, but the contest is going to go a little awry now. Steele in a position before Jonzo denies it.
Yeah, and we're seeing a slightly different play now from Georgia Tech, right? They've made one goal.
And they made a second! Excuse me, but Alec able to capitalize off of the perfect setup from Jonzo. Tosses it right up for Alec to hammer it home.
Yeah, and that's what the thing with Georgia Tech that I was going to mention here is they're playing not as aggressive. And you may be thinking, Ryan, what in the world are you talking about, right? And what I mean by this is they're not playing for the impressive angles, right? They're not playing super offensive. They're waiting for Louisville to mess up. They're waiting for them to make one mistake just by sort of putting the ball in bad spots for them to take angles off of. And because of that, Georgia Tech is like, all right, we're going to put you in a spot that's going to make you uncomfortable. We're going to put the ball in a spot that's going to make you uncomfortable. And when we expect you to mess up, right, when we expect you to put the ball somewhere, that's when Alec, that's when Trains, that's when, Jonzo are going to come in and they're going to find a beautiful shot.
From the other side of the bracket, Clemson has beat SMU 2-0, so they will be moving on in the playoffs. SMU will unfortunately be out of the tournament, and Louisville does not want to suffer the same fate.
Yeah, and with that now, Georgia Tech 2-0 as we approach just under 2 minutes here. Georgia Tech once again sticking to their more passive play style. The patience!
Oh my, Trains almost just got hit to score on himself. That would have been an absolute beauty. Steele now has to try and turn the tides of Louisville in this ACEC qualifier tournament.
Yeah, with no boost though, not able to find that shot. Alec is being very conservative on their boost, right? We're seeing when they want to be aggressive, when they want to get that shot, they go full out, right? But otherwise, they're being very safe, right? They're playing that midfield. They're making it difficult for Louisville to really find any sort of value. And no boost again for Steele is just punishing them from finding these crucial goals to bring them back in this series.
Joby1 looking for something more, but Alec trying to add a 20 seconds to their resume. Joby1 now up in the air. Trains looking for a pinch off the ground, isn't quite going to get it. Louisville now has 55 seconds left to score 2 goals, even this up, so that they do not go home this early. Alec now fighting back in front of Georgia Tech goals, looking for the hit off the top. The rebound isn't able to find it. Looking to fend it away. I mean, Louisville's running out of boost. Alec and Jonzo have it. Joby1's able to fly up in the air, test that ball, set it up for maybe Steele to get a good tap in. Louisville have to find something. They have to find it now. Again, they have to score 2 more goals, but Georgia Tech does a great job equalizing.
Yeah, and, yes, technically a goal can be made in 2 seconds, right? And
oh!
3 goals, not so much. 3 goals is going to make things a little bit difficult here. Georgia Tech finds a beautiful off the top. Jonzo is there. 2 members of Louisville go for the defense. Unfortunately for Joby1, Kenobi not able to find that third defensive push. Georgia Tech, 23 seconds left. Yes, folks, it's possible for Louisville to bring this one back, but at this point in time,
it's not very likely.
Georgia Tech will be moving forward, and with that, I mean, Louisville will fall down to that lowest bracket and go up against SMU. And Georgia Tech will continue to go forward, and if I'm right, should go beyond Syracuse, but we'll worry about that later after this game finishes up.
It is going to finish up so soon. Let's see if Georgia Tech still want to try and get it.
The flipper side?
I mean, Alec does like scoring goals.
Yeah,
so,
Alec does add one more.
Alec does kind of want to add one more. The ball is just bouncing around again. The game doesn't completely end in Rocket League until the clock hits 0 and that ball touches the ground like it did right there. Georgia Tech moving on into the semifinals. Louisville will unfortunately be heading home without any hardware in their pocket.
Yeah, and with that now, Georgia Tech moving forward, right? So we're definitely going to see some good stuff, right? I mean, Georgia Tech, we definitely finally got to see them in action, and definitely, Alec, a big scorer on the team, but not the only one, right? We definitely saw some good stuff coming out from Trains and Jonzo as well, always setting up those plays, right? Like, yes, I think Alec may be your main goaler, right? Your main scorer for the team from setups like Jonzo and Trains. But the reason Alec is able to find those is because of those setups, right?
Yeah.
Because Jonzo and Trains are always there ready to help Alec get those goals. Also, some great demos coming out as well.
That's right. And we're going to take a look at some replays here, see what Joe Biwan was able to do right off the start, right? We saw just a few touches, but Louisville weren't able to kind of keep the momentum going. Like, I want to see who tried to. It was Trains tried to hit it, but just missed. Either way, here we see now Alec just lying patiently.
Yeah.
Super. I always like that. I noticed this in other games, like aiming games, Counter-Strike, Valorant, Overwatch. The mark of a good aimer is when they're not moving their crosshair that much, right?
Yeah.
You only make the movements that are absolutely necessary. You're not moving around while you're bored. You're not just flying around because you don't know what to do. If you don't know what to do, you just kind of sit and wait until you realize what the situation needs. And that's kind of what because Alec could have, boosted up, taken middle boost, flown back around, did a lot of cool, funny things, but instead just decided. Let's just wait, and the opportunity did go. Alex Sweat.
I mean, and that's sort of one of the scary things, right? Rocket League is very fast-paced games. I mean, cars are going at multiple miles an hour, right? And that ball is going into the goal at 60 miles an hour, right? So it's a very fast game. So if you can find the calm in the storm, the calm in the cyclones, you're going to be the one who can find those goals. But, I mean, Louisville, they showed signs of life. I mean, they did, especially in game one. I mean, 3-3, forcing Georgia Tech into an overtime. I don't think we're done with them yet. I mean, right, they're in that lower bracket. They're going to be able to make some good plays. And with that, Louisville, they're in the lower bracket.
It's double Elim?
Yes, it is.
Oh, excuse me. I thought it was single Elim.
No.
That's
Louisville.
on me.
They're
okay, great. Yeah, double Elim. No, so okay, I'm familiar with this. So for the people at home, a double elimination bracket works a little bit differently than a single elimination bracket. You have essentially your top 8. You have 4 winners, you have 4 losers. If you lose from winners, you go into losers. If you lose in losers, then you're out. How it works is we are going to get to a winner's grand final. The winner of that will move to the grand finals, and then the losers bracket will play out. In losers finals, one winner will then go.
Yeah, and so I definitely just lied to you. I think it is single elimination. I think I did just lie to you.
We might have been getting.
I'm a great friend, aren't I?
Ryan.
I'm a great friend.
Set me up. I did the whole preamble to the Constitution. We the people try to establish a more perfect union. Shouldn't lie to each other.
Well, sometimes it's good information to know for the future.
A little bit of misunderstandings are bound to happen when people come into contact. That's kind of the whole point of people. Louisville now. We'll be doing something. But okay, we know Georgia Tech is going to play more.
Yes.
We're going to see more from Georgia Tech. We're going to see more from Alec. We're going to see more from Jonzo. We're going to see more from Trains. And again, Alec was the max goal scorer, but I think finally seeing a Georgia Tech game let us know that while Alec might be on the top of the accolades, we're seeing a little bit something different. Okay, finally getting a look at our bracket now. Does seem like Ryan maybe.
Yeah, I was totally in the wrong here. But
Georgia Tech and Clemson is going to be a fun match.
Yeah, and with that, right, we saw some great plays coming out from both of those teams. So, I mean, look, I still expect to see a battle of the orange, but after what we saw from Georgia Tech, right, out of what we saw from some great plays from them, there's truly no questioning. But I do want to mention one thing: the Miami Wake Forest game, that's still going on.
They are still playing, right? And that is interesting to me because we did see both of these teams play. We saw Miami play twice. We saw Wake Forest too, and a pretty not combative, but Miami, right? We've talked about it a lot, the chaos. Wake Forest was playing much more reserved. So I'm curious to see who comes up top here to then go and face Syracuse.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting, right? I mean, Syracuse, they're sitting nice and pretty, right? I mean, they're ready. They're in that quarterfinals, right? They're ready for whoever decides to take them on. And whether it be Wake Forest or Miami, right, we did already see the Miami-Syracuse game.
Yep.
And Syracuse kind of ran away with that one. So if you're Miami there, right, the question now is, are you going to perform better beating Wake Forest, now warmed up, now after playing Syracuse? Or on the flip side, right, is Wake Forest going to find a great win against Miami, or I guess drive forward in this case, and then go after Syracuse, right? And that's a game we haven't seen.
Yeah, and again, right? Louisville in that first game against Georgia Tech was they brought it to overtime. The second did go a little bit worse for them. But if we do end up seeing Miami versus Syracuse again, it's still not a done deal.
No, not at all. And that is the plus side of having two teams that have already played each other again, right? And especially in a game like Rocket League, in multiple games, but especially in a game like Rocket League, every game is different, every match is different. But not only that, but if you've already played them once, you're prepared, right? You know you need to change something. But the question then is, now that you need to change something, one, do you know what you need to change?
Yep.
And two, can you change it and still feel comfortable with your own play style?
Yeah, because it definitely is when what you're accustomed to doing doesn't work. You almost wonder, like, is it even worth switching? Because it's scary, right? To switch something and to play in a way that you're not too comfortable with. It's a big thing, and you don't know if it's going to work. But something you kind of have to remember is the way didn't work. So do you think that's the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result? Yeah. So even though you're less practiced, maybe playing a different type of play style, maybe playing more aggressive or playing slower, it might be worth it to try, because you know what will happen the first way, you don't what will happen the second way.
Yeah, and that really is like the best way to think about it, right? Is that play style one is not going to work, right? That you got 6-1. You don't want that to happen again, right? So will a different play style work? Who knows, right? Maybe it goes worse for you, but you literally have nothing to lose at this point, because your previous play style definitely ain't going to work, right? So you got to try something different, even if that means putting yourselves at a little bit of a less comfortable position, which normally, I think most coaches would yell at me if I said that, right? Like, no, we want to play comfortably, but you don't, right? If you know that your comfortable play style is not going to end well, then you don't want to, right? And taking a look at the save leaders, once again, Louisville still on top. Unfortunately, Louisville.
Joby Wan and Steele,
and SMU gone, but Ample and Massa still in this 18 and 15, some great saves.
I mean, so definitely some impressive work here coming out for Massa, and so I'm liking this. It's interesting to see how this is going to keep playing out.
Yeah, and so with that, now going into the next matchup, right? Georgia Tech going to be in that semifinals. Right. Going to be putting themselves in a great spot. And
the save leader, Masso, up against the goal leader.
True. Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Is it normal to have more goals than saves, for the goal leader to have more goals than the save leader than saves? Well, Alec does.
No, I mean, because, you got to think about this, right? You have 3 players shooting goals, right? Your saves are going to be more. Right? I mean, it's typical, right? Especially if you have players like Alec who are just bombarding your goal with shots, right? Your saves are going to be more. But with this, 21, man.
21 is crazy.
I mean, it's 20 with Syracuse's.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like Mason Gavilan combined to not even have as many goals as Alec does.
Yeah. And one thing, you asked, is it more normal, right? And I mean, just look at this, right? The top 5 teams that are still in this tournament are the teams with the most goals, right? And we saw teams like SMU and Louisville who were on the save leaderboard, but they're not in the tournament anymore.
It's almost indicative of, right, like maybe you would have seen Georgia Tech, Syracuse as save leaders if they were playing worse enough to let shots come in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see, right? As Miami, I believe, was the team that just won that. So
we got a rematch.
We do have a rematch, and I from back here, right, we have a lot of bias, right? We have a lot of bias of saying, yes, we want Syracuse to win, right? We want to see them go forward. I'm still rooting for a battle of the orange. But this Miami-Syracuse game, we saw it already. It was already a 2-0 and a rather dominant one too. Miami, if you want to stand a chance, you have to change your play style.
Yep.
Right? We've seen you as the disruptor team, right? And as this disruptor team, that's not working, right? It did pretty well against some of the other teams, right? It did very well against Clemson, but I mean, is it going to do well against Syracuse? No, right? You need to change your play style. How do you do that? Do you become more clumped? Do you try to beat Syracuse at their own passing game? What do you do to really take on Syracuse?
You just gotta kind of, I mean, at some point, This is kind of goes back to what we were saying before. The better team might win 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
You got to just hope that it's that 1 out of 10 time. And to do that, you got to make risky plays.
Yeah.
You got to take risks. You got to try, go for some maybe hopefully you can come out on top of some crazy pinches. Hopefully you can just send one flying and Syracuse makes a mistake. You're going to have something go your way that's a little out of your control, because if everything was if both these two teams controlled every single thing and were playing perfect, Syracuse would probably, like we saw earlier, dispatch Miami pretty easily.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest with you. I have one request for Miami to see them beat Syracuse here, right? The only way to see this is play disruptive, right? Go for the demos, right? Syracuse, what makes them so strong is as a team, they pass it to each other. They work with each other. You take one of their members out of that 3-person lineup, those passes aren't going to go in your favor. So
exactly.
If you're Miami, I think that's the only way you have a chance of beating Syracuse here.
It's going to be a good match. We will see a lot more of them. I think we're going to go to a quick break, and we will catch all of you guys on the flip side with semifinal action. Again, the winner of this does qualify to the CECC Championship in Oregon. So that is important. So make sure you guys do not go anywhere. Welcome back. As you all have seen, we are going to see Georgia Tech versus Clemson. The Syracuse-Miami game is currently ongoing, so we will keep you updated with that as it progresses. But Georgia Tech, Clemson, the team you thought was going to be the one to rival Syracuse. Georgia Tech, the people who kind of came at you from nowhere and have proved to be a dominant team so far throughout this tournament. What are you expecting from this match?
I don't know.
Great analysis.
So, okay, in all honesty, though, right? Like Clemson, we know that they're a dominant team. We know that they are very powerful. They're very consistent, right? Excuse me. That's what makes them very strong, is because they're a consistent team. But consistency can be beat by quality, right? Yep. And we have seen some great quality plays from Georgia Tech, and frankly, rather quantitative too, with the goal leader being on their team, Alec, going nuts.
And the goal leader by no small margin.
Absolutely not. I mean, is more than both Syracuse top goalers combined, right? But like you mentioned, right, top save is on Clemson, right? Masso. And with that, you have these two players who are at the top of that book, right? Who is going to come out on top, right? I mean, I think it was 18 or 19 saves, right? So it's not like an obscene amount, but Alec is going to start off rather aggressive and take a demo on and with this, Clemson and Georgia Tech going to start off in this semifinals game. Remember, folks, still best of 3, so first 2 wins will move on to the grand finals.
Any way you want to spin it, this is going to be a wonderful match between these 2 teams. And the 2 seed and the 6 seed as far as I'm concerned, but 4 minutes, we have 30 seconds that have now elapsed in this first match. No really powerful pushes here from either team, is now flying up to the sky. Darth is able to kind of get it into Georgia Tech zone, and the tap in from Darth is just gonna set Clemson up 1-0 right off the bat.
Yeah, Clemson gonna be on that top foot, and this is where consistency, right? If you are a good team consistently, you are going to be able to do some really good stuff, right? And if you're able to play like this, you're going to be in a good spot. But one of the downsides with consistency is your adaptation, right? You can't adapt as fast. You aren't going to adapt as fast. So if Georgia Tech is able to change their play style a little bit more and really take control of this game, then yeah, Clemson will see their unfortunate demise of this tournament. But if Georgia Tech can adapt to that, Clemson will run away with this game.
Stumptavian Robo-Click, excuse me, up first with that touch to try and get the ball out of the zone. Now flying up again, playing defense, trying to just keep their team out of some hairy situations, sends the ball back towards Clemson. Looking to get a goal, looking to even this up. The ball's going to dance around the side, but Beans is going to be there. Stumptavian Robo-Click back on the retake, the tap, back up. Going to fly off the top right corner of the net as he's going to get demoed by Masso, it looks like.
Yeah, and I mean, this is what we expected to see a little bit from these 2 teams, right? 2 teams, very, very good, very dominant. Georgia Tech sort of coming out of nowhere. Speaking of out of nowhere, Masso finds a good shot.
That's what happens. The change of pace, the momentum can switch so quickly. Darth is able to just send them in, and did Georgia Tech just kind of forget that they were playing?
I think
no one was there. Maybe a touch before that one arrived. We didn't really see. Massa was going to start it off quick with the demo and a Jonzo. Clemson up 2-0 with the momentum. Send a flyer back in towards Clemson or Georgia Tech's net, but Georgia Tech, we're going to have to see something. Maybe ACEC can try and respond.
Yeah, I mean, Clemson doing a great job keeping themselves in this game. And, I mean, it's curious to see, right? I mean, that Syracuse-Miami game is going on. You know, Miami 2-0 Clemson. I mean, that was the first game of the series, right? And with that, now Clemson is doing a great job against Georgia Tech. And it's interesting to see that Miami was doing such a good job against Clemson, but in the end, we may still see a Clemson-Syracuse matchup.
I mean, demo after demo after demo is going to come through. ACEC and Jonzo now sitting in front of Georgia Tech's net are able to get the tap on that ball, send it back out. Flying up in front of the net, though, Beans is going to be there for the kickback out. Darth flying in the air, too, sends it up, the ball drifting right towards the neck, the goal, excuse me. Let's see if Massa is able to be there. Darth flies in from the top, sends the ball careening over towards the left side of Georgia Tech zone. Now Bean meets it up in the air, but ACEC is able to send it out. Now Massa looking up for the contest, but the ball is just going to end at middle field with the demo.
Yeah, with this now, Clemson, 2 minutes left, 2-0 in this series. They're doing a good job, right? And Clemson, they haven't stopped yet, right? That's why they're doing such a good job. They're keeping the pressure on. I mean, Georgia Tech, they've been doing a good job at throwing the ball over to Clemson's side of the field, but they haven't really been able to capitalize on some of these positional advantages, right? They kind of just keep the ball there. And Clemson, when they throw the ball over to Georgia Tech's side of the field, they continue forward, right? They continue to press on to that advantageous position.
Take a deep breath. Beans with the save right into the demo, and now the counter offensive push is going to come in off the top rope. ACEC needs to find the touch, but no. Darth is flying in. The touch is going to go towards the left, trying to get a second one to center it for his teammate. ACEC is now going to have to fly up, meet the ball in the air. Jonzo is going to do good with his mechanics, able to fly up, meet that ball. Darth, though, responds right away. 2-0. Georgia Tech now are looking for an opportunity to get back on the leaderboard. ACEC scores 21 goals, looking for a 22nd back up in the air, met up there by Beans. The push was stopped before it even started. Now Darth off the net, the pop in from Beans as Clemson go up 3-0.
Yeah, and at this point in time, Clemson has run away with this game, right? And if you're Georgia Tech, right, this is one of the best things about Rocket League as a game, as an esport, as a competitive environment is You're 50 seconds left. You're 3 goals down. You're not likely going to win this, right? But this is when you can change your play style. Make something new. You have nothing to lose in this game, right? So literally do anything. Try something different. Try something risky, and then go into game 2 and try that new tactic, right? This is when you can change up your play style, change something that's maybe not working too well for you, right? Make something different so that going into game 2, you can win that, right? Because at this point in time, Clemson has already won this map.
25 seconds left. The adaptation from Georgia Tech, it seems like maybe they just kind of want to go into the next map. You see the patience there. Now they're going to go. But part of that patience is the other team just kind of gets to build up that speed, that supersonic speed. Remember, is what is required for the demo. The shot comes in, just going to barely miss. Massau isn't able to get it. Stumpavian roadblock now. Looking for a little bit more, but that ball's going to touch the ground right there. And Clemson are going to take game 1. Remember, only a best-of-3 series.
Yeah, Clemson able to win that one. And, I mean, like I said, right, that's sort of that situation where it's like, okay, y'all, right, you were kind of 50 seconds in, 3 goals up for Clemson. It wasn't going to be very likely you were going to win that, right? So that's when you could have changed up your type of play style, right? And I think Georgia Tech is lost. I really do, right? Clemson, they're consistent. They really haven't changed their play style at all this game. Or this entire tournament, right? And because of that, it's put Georgia Tech in a rough spot because they don't know what to do. They don't know how to go up against it. And because of that, Clemson's kind of just walking away with this series.
Yeah, Georgia Tech is going to have to find more of what got them here in the first place, right? They are the 2 seed. We played we didn't play those group stages for nothing. We played it for seeding. Yeah. They are the 2 seed. They were able to unseat some of these teams like Miami, who did end up beating Clemson, right? So the answer is somewhere in there. The answer probably lies somewhere in ACEC scoring 21 goals throughout the first few matches. Silent from the entire Georgia Tech team. Not a single goal scored.
Yeah, and that's the scary part if you're Georgia Tech, right? I mean, you've played, I'm taking a guess here, about 4 games, right? 4 or 5 games total so far. And through those games, ACEC has been very, very loud, very, very active. And now you're in a game where I think this may be the first game ACEC hasn't scored a point, right? And you've got to change up that play style. I mean, ACEC is so good at finding these shots, at finding those off the bank into that double tap, right? But Clemson's not letting that happen. They know that ACEC is one of those dangerous players. And if ACEC is demoed, they're going to win.
Yeah, right? There's nothing you can do if you're not on the field. But ACEC respawns, throws one in off the top. Beans is there to respond. You got to remember, playing against a higher quality opponent in Clemson, some of those shots that ACEC got might not go in against a higher caliber goaltending up back end. ACEC, though, tries to prove me wrong, throws one, but just misses across the left side of the goal now. Georgia Tech flying up. It seems like there's an opportunity for Jonzo to be the first one to notch a point for Georgia.
Georgia Tech, they're definitely not done yet, right? And that's the thing with rugby, right? That's what happens when you have such incredible teams at such high levels, right? Is they understand, look, it was one game. Unlucky that we lost, right? We're facing sudden death in a situation, right? But we can bring this back. Every game in rugby is different. I know I sound like a broken record here, but it's true, right? Clemson went 3-0 in that last game. Now, Georgia Tech
up a quick 1-1 to 2-1. They go down to Clemson. Just finds a nice tap up in the air, and then Massau able to send it right into the net.
Yeah, and I mean, as I was saying, you know, Georgia Tech was back in the game, right? And they still are, right? You're even, right? Instead of being down 2 or 3 goals, you are even, and you have the chance to continue forward, right? You're 1-1 here. You got 3 minutes and 50 seconds left. Clemson and Georgia Tech, both of these teams, very, very good. That's a reason they are here in this semifinals, right? Because they're both incredibly good, because they've done some incredible work, right? And with this, a shot goes in, but Beans will find a save.
Beans with the magnificent job there to deny that one, and now the ball flies back into Georgia Tech's zone. They want to get this ball out of here and try and restart offensive scoring chances, but Clemson just trying to keep the gas pedal on. It's going to set up, but Stumpavian RoboClick is able to get up there and find the touch back in the Clemson zone. Darth sends it back, and now a little bit of an outnumbering situation. Flies it up. Alec, he can score and make saves too. Pepe with the demo on to Jonzo. But now Beans flying up, send it back in. Georgia Tech have to kind of regroup here and get an offense going.
Yeah, Georgia Tech going to go in, but Clemson is there, ready to go. A shot goes in, but it's going to be wide, and Georgia Tech won't be able to find that shot, unfortunately, and with that, they're forced to back up. They have no boost, but luckily for them, Beans is not going to be able to find that tap on the ball. Georgia Tech, a good rotation, a safe rotation is going to put them back in the driver's seat here, as Clemson is going to be back on the defensive side, but the rotations have just kept them in this game.
Stumptavian Roadblock sends one in right across off the right post of the goal, sends it back for the rebound. Alec now looking to try and generate something ever, has to go back, collect some boost. Darth is going to take down Jonzo, and now Clemson running out of boost. If Georgia Tech could find the rotates and get back in here with boost, they could try and do something important. Beans and Darth Pepe both called out now. Georgia has to try and find something and turn this quickly. The ball is going to come up, a bounce isn't going to go their way, and Clemson's going to get to regroup.
Yeah, and that's one of the...
Oh my God! Excuse me, but we are seeing absolute chaos! Jonzo is able to fly in from the side and notch one for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great play comes in from Alec to just set that one up, forces a double commit on the defense coming out from Clemson, and because of that, Jonzo finds the opening, finds the goal, and finds the lead again. But folks, this has been a very active game, and we only have 2 minutes still to go.
155, 154, the mid-air demo comes in for Alec. Massa with the save, the shot, excuse me. Now Clemson trying to just shove that ball in. Jonzo, a little bit, 40 boost, not extremely healthy. Clemson is able to go back, pick up some boost, pick up some things on the rotate, and get back in here. Stumptavian Roboclick, I just love saying that name, is able to fly in from the side and start the offensive push back for Georgia Tech. Up in the air, Darth Pepe wants to challenge.
Yeah, and with this, right, Clemson going to be able to be aggressive here. They have the boost, but Georgia Tech was able to as well. But as I'm saying that, Darth Pepe able to find the goal on to Georgia Tech. Both teams had some good boost, but in the end, a great pass off the sidebar.
It seems like Darth Pepe there was able to it was a one-on-one with Stumptavian Roboclick, and Darth Pepe was able to just find the right touch to put the ball where Stumptavian wasn't.
I'm gonna give you a shirt with just that name on it. I feel like you really love that name.
Alec! Let's stop talking because Alec, the leading goal scorer of the tournament, notched one right off the top crossbar. Alec is just there before Darth Pepe can come back for the support.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia Tech, they're starting to figure out how to win this, right? They're starting to adapt. They're starting to be where Clemson doesn't want them to be, right? We're seeing a lot more aggressive plays. We're seeing normally some fake commits, right? Especially from Alec, right? That main scorer for the team, they're baiting Alec for Clemson to try and use that defense. And because of that, when Alec goes in, uses all that boost, Clemson, they're like, all right, that's the big score. We go in, we defend. And then Georgia Tech, you have players like Jonzo or going in and finding those goals.
Georgia Tech now back on the front press as Alec finds the second for them of the game. Again, just an errant hit from Darth Pepe, sends the ball up off the top crossbar, and that might kind of just seal it up as Georgia Tech commanding lead in this game too.
Yeah, Georgia Tech definitely bringing themselves back, and this is what I was talking about, right? Yes, consistency is going to be great for you, but I can't talk. I'm not allowed to talk, I guess.
Darth Pepe, I mean, none of these teams want it to go down without a fight. The tap in, Alec and Stumptavian Roboclick just a little too late.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that's working for Georgia Tech is they are double committing, right? And it's risky because you're forcing Alec normally to use all that boost so that another member can find that goal, and it's very, very risky. But Clemson, with that consistency, they've been able to find some goals because of these double commits that Georgia Tech are doing. And it's
Alec flies in from across the sea, just barely not able to find that shot on the cage. 15 seconds left. Clemson down by 1, has to try and put a ball in the back of the net if they want this game to go to overtime. If not, we're going to a round 3. Georgia Tech just has to sit tight for another 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second left on the clock. Clemson now pushing an offensive in the air, just get the ball on the ground. Georgia Tech is going to win game 2.
Georgia Tech is not out of this one yet. They're keeping that pressure on. They're keeping themselves in this game. I mean, there's a reason that these are the two teams in the semifinals.
That's right, because they are both able to play very well. And not only that, but able to respond, able to adapt. I feel like as teams get better, right, everybody kind of has their default play style that when they boot into group stage, when they boot into the first match, they're using. But as kind of the games go on, it is rock, paper, scissors to a certain extent, right?
Yeah.
Rock does beat paper. And if you're playing rock, you normally go in. Your first thing you throw out is rock. The first thing the other person throws out is paper. You got to start rethinking it. And it's how well you can rethink. Can you throw out scissors well enough to really punch through the other team's rock? The analogy kind of falls through here. But I think
I'm with you.
I think it was, you know what I mean? Like, it's how well you can adapt.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, we're talking about adaptation and or adaptation. That's the first one was not a word. Syracuse, no adapting needed. 2-0 will advance to the grand finals, right? Beating out Miami and will be bringing themselves to the finals. So with that now, it is just between Georgia Tech and Clemson here. One more match to go.
See who can have a date with the lovely, lovely S behind me. We know everybody here watching. You might not be Syracuse fans, but you kind of are.
I don't know.
Shouts out to the people, the watch party and Shine Student Center are going to love that grand finals. But either way, we move into map 3, game 3. Excuse me, not map 3 of this Georgia Tech versus Clemson. This battle is going to come to a glorious end. The shot up the side, the goal is halfway in the net. Alec is just able to shove it out, but Darth Pepe touched with Stumptavian, sends it right back away.
Yeah, and this is where it comes down to, right, that consistency and that quality. Georgia Tech has changed up their play style. It has put Clemson in a rather interesting situation. That's why they lost game number 2. But with this, right, Clemson, you now need to adapt. Or are you going to stay with your consistent play style? It didn't do you too much harm, right? And I'm sure if they had a few more seconds, they maybe could have brought it in.
Darth Pepe, a few seconds is all they will need. Again, the touch comes off the sky from Maso, the pass to the center, able to perfectly dribble and throw it over a lob right into that right side of the net.
Great dribble, waits, patience, again, right? Something that we've been saying that Georgia Tech has been doing very, very well. Patience coming out from Clemson, able to slowly dribble it in, will be Darth Pepe, and is able to just wait for the defense, goes in, finds the shot. However, Georgia Tech comes in, will put that next play to an end. But while this is all happening, Clemson, they're staying the same. They really have not changed their play style yet. And Georgia Tech, I mean, they slightly changed it, and that's why we have such an even series, right? Is this consistency has been why Clemson is such a dominant and such a really, really good team. Georgia Tech, a team that likes to play with their scorers, but has made some adaptations to make Clemson in a rather not as comfortable situation.
That's right, and now Georgia Tech have to try and regroup and find something in. Jonzo's gonna throw in a shot, tries to get the double tap, but the rebound back right towards Alec, maybe looking to find the 22nd goal of the game, right in off the top crossbar, the alley-oop to themselves. Alec slams it home.
What a double tap. I mean, Clemson, they both go in and try to defend that, and Alec kind of just puts it in the net there. I mean, I think it was maybe a little bit of a miscommunication coming out from Clemson that both of them went in, because double taps are very common. I mean, those are very, very common things to happen, and we saw both of them go in for that defense, and no one was there to defend the actual shot on the goal. So maybe a little bit of a miscommunication will bring Georgia Tech even in this map here, and we're 1-1.
Alec now up, flying, meets Darth Pepe in the air with the ball. It's all about getting to the plane of attack, but Beans able to find the proper spot, the proper touch, right? Alex sends it down, bounces back off the wall, but Beans is there, and Jonzo can't quite get the car in front of the path of the ball.
It's such a messy game. I mean, you know, when comparing to teams like Syracuse, right, who plays a lot of these passing games, or even teams like we saw earlier with Wake Forest on that clump that they played, right? I mean, it's together, right? And normally you expect to see what's happening. This Clemson Georgia Tech game, it's so messy, it's so crazy, and there's so many different things going on, and the ball it goes from fast to just lightly grazing the air, right? There's so many different things going on that it's putting these players in rather interesting positions because they don't know what's going on.
Oh my lord! Shot from Stumptavian Robo Quick going to be sent away by Darth Pepe, but Alec with the demo, and now Georgia Tech up the card. Maiden is going to try and turn this into an offensive scoring opportunity. The ball is going to be in front of the net. Oh, if someone was there from Georgia Tech, that could have been a prime opportunity to get one in. But no, the shot again. Stumptavian RoboClick now. Massall just didn't have any boost and wasn't able to get up there.
Just lightly taps it in. I mean, look at how soft this was.
Oh, I guess that was Darth Pepe who just wasn't quite able to find proper response. I mean, 2-2. This is a game.
2-2, 2 minutes and 16 seconds left. 1-1 in this best of 3. One of these teams will be going home. One of these teams will be going up against Syracuse to see who will make it to the CECC Championship in Arlington, Texas. And there it is.
Wants to send Clemson there too. So as we see the touch here from Darth Pepe, he's just going to set up Massall perfectly. And Georgia Tech maybe caught a little bit off guard by that fast counterattack. Didn't have the rotations ready.
Yeah, I mean, with this now, Clemson going to be back up in the series, but we've seen how fast Georgia Tech can bring that back, right? Back to your rock, paper, scissors, right? It really is just back and forth, and you're going to be, playing, and it's going to be rock to rock, and then next will be rock to paper, or scissors to paper, and it's just back and forth, and eventually one of these teams will come out on top, but frankly, I would not be surprised if we saw an overtime here.
Mazzol with the demo onto Alec is going to send that ball flying up in the air. Pepe comes to meet it, but countered by Jumbo. Stumptavian RoboClick finds the demo on Darth Pepe. Now Masso's going in for a little freestyle play, but Alec is going to be there. If you score so many goals, you must know how the other team wants to score. Sets you up for the prime spot on the defense. Alec goes back, picks up some boost. Stumptavian RoboClick tries to pick it up. The bounce back in front of the net. Going to be shoved out to the side. Now Clemson, they're the ones without the boost. Alec on a solo run to the net. Oh, just barely misses that opportunity. Puts it back up. But the shove out from Mazzow, and now Clemson should be able to get some boost again. It's centered. Mazzow with the boost are able to send it away. Georgia Tech came so close with that opportunity.
Yeah, Georgia Tech fully on that offensive push there. The ball goes wide, but won't be able to find the goal. And now Clemson, no boost for two of their members, but Georgia Tech, same boat. It's really whoever gets to that ball first. It is on the side of Clemson's goal.
Oh my, but it's not going to work. Alec and Johnzo might have just been a little too close to the goal. Couldn't find the right angle to get that ball in the net. Georgia Tech has 30 seconds left to tie this game up before Clemson moves on to the grand finals of the ACEC Qualifier tournament. Now the shot in off the top crossbar, the rebound. Massall had a chance to hit the dagger but misses, and now Georgia Tech has 17 seconds to turn it around. Alec shows it in, flicks it off the top on the 1v1. The trade in, Stumptavian RoboClick looking for it, but he can't find it. 6, 7, 5. Now it's back in Georgia Tech's end. They gotta try and get an offensive push coming. Send it in from the top. Stumptavian RoboClick. Alec was set up right there, but just a little too late. Clemson finish it off and are moving on to the grand finals. Ryan.
Wow. I mean,
if there was 2 seconds, if there were 2 more seconds, Alec would have scored
that.
If the ball was just a little
that close.
Back.
That close for being able to find the goal.
Those are the type of margins that we see when we get up to this high level of Rocket League, right? I gotta have a sip of water. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, yeah, and that's the thing, right? And not to toot my own horn, but I did predict a Battle of the Orange. But anyways, going forward with that, right? I mean, Georgia Tech, they were in that game, and they were right there. They were seconds away. They were maybe a car length away from being able to find that final shot. But they weren't able to do it, and Clemson comes out on top in a rather close game.
Oh, such a close game. I mean, it really, it felt like as we see replays of this game one, this was kind of Georgia Tech's, download time. You see this in common terminology a lot in fighting games. It's like, all right, download it, right? You understand how your opponent plays, and you know you've played enough of the game yourself to know what solutions you need to employ now. Yeah. And so it took Georgia Tech just a little bit to download Clemson, but once they did, they went into game 2, as we see here, and they started off the scoring early. But I mean, it just game 1 was Clemson, game 2 was Georgia Tech, game 3 it really genuinely came down to 2 seconds, or if the ball just a little bit further, it's just crazy.
Absolutely, yeah. And with that, right? Now Clemson gets to go forward, and they're warm. They're ready. They've adapted slightly. They've worked on their consistency as well. They know what to do going into that next match, where Syracuse just came off of a 2-0 earlier, right, against Miami. So they're going to stay on their nice little beaches. They will not, unfortunately, be going to Texas. But Clemson and Syracuse will be those two teams,
and they played earlier.
They did 2-1.
So Clemson did take a game, right? Syracuse, the only time that they've lost a game this whole tournament was that one game they lost to Clemson. And now, like you said, combine that with the fact that Clemson's hot, they just played an absolute thriller. Syracuse, I feel like Clemson are putting themselves in a prime position to come out fast and take game one.
And not even that, but remember, grand finals, right? It's going to be a best of 5, so first to 3, right? So there's going to be more games. And I mean, with these two teams, with the way they play, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see, right? And, you know, all this is possible thanks to the wonderful people at Esports U and CECC for letting us have the opportunity to watch these teams, watch Georgia Tech, watch Clemson, watch Syracuse, watch U Miami, play it out, battle it out to really see who gets that bid to make it to Arlington, Texas. And what of these two orange teams will?
It's good. There's going to be orange in Arlington. and as okay, now question about that. Are you happy that there's going to be orange, or do you, or are you saying we're the real orange? If Clemson makes it, that's fraud orange. Are you team orange is good, or are you team there's only one real orange?
I have to be biased here, right? I mean, you have to say it.
They
right?
are the Clemson Tigers, not the Clemson Orange.
True. You know,
our mascot is a color, and then that is turned into a weird fruit goblin who can take off.
Have you seen Otto's dance moves?
My favorite dance move is the one where Otto pulls its arms in, grabs the orange, and just flips and just spins it. That shouldn't be possible.
Well, you know, neither should cars be flipping in the air, but you know.
Well, this is a video game. Otto does that in real life. Otto does it in real life.
And?
As we see the bracket here, Clemson had, as the 6th seed, right, got a little bit, probably could have played a lot better in group stage, losing to Miami, dropped them all the way down to the 6th seed. But playoffs is when the competition, when everything really starts to come alive, able to take down SMU, Georgia Tech, and now facing against Syracuse in the grand finals.
Yeah, and you know, that's the thing, right? Is you went 1, 2, and now you're here, right? You're here for 3.
You took down the 3-2 and then the
and now you're here, right? So, I mean, for all those out there who like that sort of, you don't think of this as a lower bracket, but like kind of like the underdog story, right? 6-3, 6-2, now 6-1, right? Can you do it? Can you make it there? Can you take Syracuse out and send them home, right? Is that something you're going to be able to do? But the good thing is for Alec, they did finish on top.
I don't think anybody was ever gonna.
It's possible. I mean, Mason Star could make 10 goals.
Mason Star scores 10 goals in this grand finals. I will give him $1,000.
Heard it here first, folks.
Wait. This could be 5 games, so Mason Star really only has to score like 2 per game.
Yeah.
So like not completely impossible.
No, I know. That's why I kind of was curious where you're going with that one.
Oh, darn.
But I mean, you know, here's the thing, right? I mean, with that, right, you have Beans up there as well, right, with 8. And I mean, it proves that Syracuse definitely has players who can make goals. It doesn't matter who they are, right? But on the side of Clemson, same deal, right?
Same deal.
They can do the same thing. They can make those goals. And we saw some great plays from them as well. And they're consistent. Syracuse is consistent. We have 2 teams that are consistent, right? I've used that word a lot, and it's because that's what makes them good. That's what makes these teams some of those powerhouses. They're consistent, which makes them on top, right? And now we're taking a look at the save leaders. I do want to point this out real quick, right? Nassau used to be on top. Now it's Ample, which kind of tells you there were a lot of goals shot from Syracuse.
Yeah, right. Syracuse, we didn't get to see the Syracuse-Miami game, but it was a 2-0.
Yeah.
We don't know how many goals were scored either, but judging by the shot count, the save count, a lot of shots. Syracuse must have had a lot of control playing in those 2 matches.
Yeah, and that's something that you're going to have to be careful of going into this grand finals is whoever has the most control will be taking that map, right? They will be the one taking that round, taking that game. And if you don't have the control, right, it's going to be one of the scary things. And we saw it in game 1. I mean, just game 1, group stage 1, Clemson and U Miami, right? Clemson had control, but they were always disrupted, right? They couldn't play the way they wanted to play. Syracuse, on the other side, right, didn't let Miami take control. Now we have two teams who don't really disrupt each other, but rather play as teams, play on their passing side, play on that goals. They know their rotations. It really is just a matter of, in this game, who can mirror it better. I mean, it's simple as that at this point.
And we didn't see it, but a little bit of taste was that before they did play. Syracuse did mirror it better in the first, but they dropped a game. And honestly, the fact that Clemson was able to win one game tells you all you need to know, that they have it in them.
Exactly.
Clemson is the only team in this tournament who has showed that they can take a game off of Syracuse.
Yeah. And that's why you sort of expected to see these two orange teams in the finals, right? You know, Clemson was going to be that team that if anyone was to take out Syracuse, it was going to be Clemson. Georgia Tech had a chance there, right? And was definitely a team that you had to be aware of. But in the end, Clemson, they're the team that has that capability to send Syracuse home. And can you do it?
Right. Dare I take us back to the mountain?
Okay. This will be good. All right. I'm ready. I'm hyped. Let's get it.
We have put on our ice climbing boots. We have taken our ice pick out of the bag. Now these two teams are in sight of the summit.
Yeah.
They see each other on the other side of the mountain. They're both running towards the top, and now they reach into their bags and they start taking out the bricks. They're throwing the bricks at each other to see who will bend first. So do not go anywhere as we continue to ask that question. Who will break first? Syracuse versus Clemson in the grand finals right when we come back.
You're live.
Welcome back, everybody. We have the grand finals of the ACEC qualifier, but Ryan, it's not going to look like what we expected.
No, so unfortunately, Clemson is going to have to forfeit. A player did lose power, but that does not mean the grand finals are gone. As we take a look at the bracket, Georgia Tech will be moving forward. And you may be thinking, oh no, what are we going to do?
No,
Folks,
Battle of the Orange.
Georgia Tech, they performed very, very well. And we talked about it a little bit, right? If there was like 1 second left,
that third game goes into overtime.
easily, right? So still competitive.
And this is what I was talking about before, right? Sometimes you do need a little extra something to go your way.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's in part, right, who's the better team, but 9 out of 10 times you might have seen Clemson in this grand final. Maybe this is what had to happen for that 1 out of time. A little bit of unforeseen circumstances, like a player losing power. That sometimes that just does it.
Yeah, and you know, due to that, Georgia Tech is going to be in that grand finals. But here's the thing, right? Not only are they in the grand finals, but now, instead of being out of this tournament, they're going to have a chance. They're going to have a chance at one thing, Danny, and that thing is going to be a bid to the CECC Championship in Arlington, Texas. Those two teams are going to be going at it. Syracuse and Georgia Tech are going to be these two teams. A special thank you to Esports U and CECC for bringing us to this grand finals, for bringing us to a match of the ages. Danny, things are going to be happening here, and it's going to be good. We got Syracuse and Georgia Tech.
I am so excited. We get to see the leading goal scorer. Okay, so it seems like I probably won't have to play Mason $1,000 because I did say if Mason overtakes Alec for that top goal scorer.
So this is your doing.
No, this was not my doing. Or was it? No. I'm really excited to see this kind of flashy, fast-paced Georgia Tech play up against a really similar play style for Syracuse. Yeah. Another kind of tornado whirlwind.
Yeah, I mean, Syracuse, they like to play those pinches. They like to play that aggressive play style that make things difficult for the opposing team, and they're good at playing as a team, right? Georgia Tech, one of these teams that are very fast, very aggressive as well, but don't really play purely as a team and more just like try to get that ball to Alec, while players like Syracuse's, really anyone can find those goals and find that ability.
The Rocket League Field. What a beautiful, beautiful.
We love Champions Field. It's beautiful.
We love Champions Field.
It's a great place. Great place to be today, folks. We're here at Syracuse. Georgia Tech down in Atlanta. And they're going to have a good old time. One of these teams are going to Texas. That's a different time zone.
That is a different time zone completely. And again, this is a best of 5 series. We've been seeing best of 3s all day. But it's going to be a best of 5, which theoretically would decrease like RNG, right?
Yeah.
Because if you play rock, paper, scissors, or if you flip a coin 5 times, you might get 4 tails. But if you flip it 1,000,000 times, you're gonna get 50-50. And right now in the best of 5, we're gonna see the scores maybe even out just a little bit more. Okay, so we have Jonzo, we have Stumptavian, RoboClick, and we have Alec, but Gavilon starts it off 10 seconds into the match. Mason Star, a beautiful, beautiful kick off the side, and Gavilon just puts it right in the net.
Gavilon starting off strong. Syracuse starting off strong. A beautiful shot will put them in the lead here as they go up against this Georgia Tech team. 10 seconds in. And we're already seeing some great stuff coming out from Syracuse, right? They know how to pass. They know that Georgia Tech likes to play aggressive, but Syracuse, they want to take the tempo in their own control. They want to make sure that this really powerful play style that's coming in from Georgia Tech, Syracuse wants to mirror it, but wants to make it even more aggressive.
They have started off by doing just that. Alec now, the goal scorer of the tournament, going around, picking up some boost, going to come back in on the offensive push. Gavilon sends that ball up, out, away from Syracuse's goal, back into Georgia Tech zone. Pat is able to just kind of fly in. The ball is going to be countered by Stumptavian RoboClick to send it back towards Syracuse's side. Gavilon is going to be there for the tap. Stumptavian sends it back up now, looking for a nice opportunity. Georgia Tech, if they have good players on the rotate, could find something a little special here. Alec does get the tap. Jonzo centers it, but Gavilon is there to send it right back towards Georgia Tech's end.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that Georgia Tech is going to struggle to get through on the side of Syracuse is one of the things that makes Syracuse very strong, in addition to the 1,000 other things, is they have great rotations. There always is someone on that net waiting, right? Waiting to bring it back. Gavilan there at midfield even, right? So sometimes they don't even have players at the goal, but rather in midfield just to bring that pressure back in. And that's one of the things with Syracuse is you can't just have someone like Alex walk in and find a goal because Syracuse is there ready for it. With this now as well, Georgia Tech, right? One of the things I want to discuss, right, with players like Alec, right? You want to go in, you want to take the advantage as fast as possible, right? But Syracuse, due to these rotations, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? They're keeping that pressure on, and okay, the demo will help, but the ball is already on the side of Georgia Tech's field.
Yeah, double for Alec. It's not going to matter because you do kind of respawn quickly, and you do respawn with a little bit of boost. So Alec looks to make the pass to themselves off the wall, but Syracuse just going to have a lot of people on the rotate there to always get it in. Gavilan flies up in the air, sets it up, pat down towards the net. Alec is able to save that goal, save Georgia Tech from going down 2-0 in game 1 of this best of 5 grand finals. Now Georgia Tech gets a nice flip him. Alec, a shot on goal, but Mason with the boost is able to get it out at the perfect moment.
Yeah, one more thing I do want to mention about Syracuse is their boost management in comparison, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to this difference, right, is Syracuse always has some sort of boost available. Georgia Tech, they use it very, very to the max, right? I mean, look at Alec, just got a full boost, already down to 50, right? And that's sort of one of the scary things for players like Alec is, yes, you're incredibly good, but when you use all 100 of your boost just to go for an attack and now you have nothing left, Syracuse is going to go for that attack immediately.
And that is what they are doing. Mason sends it to Pat. The perfect 1-2 punch. These players have been playing together for 4 years, and that is how you can tell.
Right into the back of the net, the top right, a beautiful shot comes out from Syracuse here as we approach just under 2 minutes. Syracuse is going to be up 2-0. Syracuse, no matter what team they were going up against in the finals, they were ready and they had a plan of attack, and that's what they have now, right? This plan of attack in action. And if you're Syracuse, you just want to play this way the rest of the game, right? Georgia Tech needs to find adaptation. The demos are good, and right, and that's how I said Miami's the only way to beat Syracuse is to ruin these players by getting these demos. Georgia Tech's gotten a couple of them, but they need to get the follow-up as well.
Yeah, and oh my, and right, that's what you were talking about before. Georgia Tech, it is at best of 5, so they have a lot more games to play with. If they want to take this remaining 1 minute and 20 seconds to try and find a new strategy, the onus is on them. Syracuse can play just how they were playing, and if nothing changes, they're going to win. They're going to win pretty handily, but Georgia Tech does not want to go out so soon, so early, and they are trying to respond. A minute left in this game 1 as Georgia Tech now has the ball in Syracuse's zone, playing at it off the walls, the tap in the middle. Jonzo able to send it home.
Yeah, really good plays coming out from Georgia Tech there, right? Syracuse was forced to use a lot of their boost just to play this defensive angle, and because of that, right, Alec even plays bait, fakes the shot out, and Syracuse goes to defend Alec, and I mean, it's what you do, right? I mean, Alec, there's a reason they are at the top of this goal leaderboard, right? Is because they are one of the most dangerous players in this entire tournament, and you know, Syracuse went in, they went for the defense on Alec, and you know, unfortunately, that was able to give the spot for Georgia Tech to find that goal. So unfortunately for Syracuse, they were not able to defend.
No, they were not. Now Georgia Tech has to find one more goal in this game to tie it up before Syracuse take the lead. But the ball is in their zone. They are trying to clear it back out into Syracuse's side of the field, but Pat does not want to let that quite happen. The ball is going to fly up, but Gavilan should be there to approach it on the tap, send it right back towards Georgia Tech. 20 seconds left in this match. Gavilan is a good spot. Mason as well. The save. Alec is a hair late. And Mason able to sneak one through.
That is another goal going in for Syracuse. And with 17 seconds left, that is likely the match as well. Syracuse, a great shot, just barely able to find that goal in. Mason star one wants to take over, wants to find those goals ahead of Alec and put themselves at the top of that leaderboard. And I mean, with that, right, Syracuse, great spot already starting off. If you're Georgia Tech, you need to come up with a little bit of a different play style because Syracuse, they're fine. They're not going to change anything.
3, 2, 1. Alec now looking to press the issue off the top to themselves. Just going to touch the ground. It would have gone in if there was more time, but alas, Syracuse take game 1 of this best of 5 finals, playing for a bid to the ACEC championship.
Yes, they are. And with that, I mean, Syracuse, there's a reason that their Rocket League team is so incredibly good, right? There's a reason that they are, I believe, in the quarterfinals or finals in some other divisions, right?
Premier Plus.
Exactly.
Premier Plus.
Right. I mean, it's because they know how to play. And like you said, 4 years together. I mean, that is just synergy.
I'm pretty sure. But
I mean,
definitely
roughly,
a long
right?
They're all
A very long
seniors
time.
and they've been playing together for at least 2 or 3 years.
Exactly, right? And because of that, I mean, they have so much time together, they have so much synergy together, they have so many hours on the game together that they know how to really take some of these matches and play together. They trust each other, and you can see that in these goals.
Yeah, like I forget who exactly it was, but Mason kind of knew that if you send the ball up, Pat is going to be there. Yeah. And Pat was there. And that's the thing about these low-scoring games. Think Rocket League or think hockey.
Yeah.
Think football or soccer. Football. Right? It's you're playing for 1 or 2 or 3 goals. So you're going to have a lot of chances. And if you if Mason throws that ball up 4 times, as long as Patrick is there once, that's good enough. That's all you need. Now, a question for you.
Sure. Hit me.
What does Georgia Tech need to do to try and bring it back?
Right. So I'm still on this demo hype train here, right? Is the only way you're going to stop Syracuse is to stop them from getting their passes to each other, right? I mean, you just told me a beautiful story about how Mason goes in, throws the ball up, Pat is there to find the shot, right? That happens so many times. If you get rid of one of those players, like get rid of Pat, get rid of Mason Star with a demo, they're not going to be able to do that, right? I think that's what Georgia Tech needs to do, right? I mean, you're playing a good tempo, you're keeping the pressure on, but the problem is you don't really have much ball control.
Yeah, it doesn't really, if the control is 80-20, again, it's all about chances, maximizing the amount of chances, because if you have 10 tries, 1 is going to go in, whereas if you have 4, you might not get any. But Alex starts it off with a chance of their own. Stumptavian Robo Click, my favorite name in this tournament, bar none. Now tries to contest it, but the shot comes in. Is that shot on cage? It is not. Going to bounce right off the left post. Gavlar gets credited with the shot. The demo for Alex as Georgia Tech maybe try and get the ball back into the Syracuse zone. But look at the boost. I mean, Georgia Tech is just completely starved where Syracuse is sitting pretty.
Yeah, and that's another thing I want to see, right? Is these demos are great, but
that is even better. Gavilan from the middle with the boost, able to clean it up. Syracuse go up in game 2, 1-0, 1 minute and 7 seconds into the match.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with Syracuse, right? Is you briefly mentioned it. I mean, sitting pretty there, right, with the boost. And that's the thing is with Georgia Tech, right? Yes, I want you to do these demos and you're getting great value off of them, but you're not continuing that value. You're not going forward. You're not getting those goals made. And the reason you're not doing it is because you are completely wasting your boost, right? To get these demos, you're going in and you're pushing yourself forward and you're getting these demos, but then you have no boost to go forward. You have no boost to take that remaining shot. And due to that reason, Syracuse really hasn't had anything to really worry about here as they're just peppering down the goal and no one's going on.
I mean, Mason Star just able to find one. Georgia Tech, if they're making adaptations, it's got to change. I mean, oh my goodness. Gavilan just able to kind of play a little bit of hooky with Jonzo. Leave the ball drop to Pat to kind of throw in, or Mason to throw in.
Yeah, and I mean, Georgia Tech, here's the thing, right? We haven't seen any change. They're still being very, very useful of this boost. They're definitely just sort of throwing it all out there, which is causing them to not be able to go in on these full engages, right? We're not seeing the follow-up on these demos from some of these players. And so even though you're getting good demos, the follow-ups are not there, right? And because of that, you're not getting any value. Georgia Tech has the capabilities to take Syracuse down, but they need to incorporate some of these things that are just punishing.
Oh, Mason right there for the save. Alec does get a chance, but Syracuse on top of the rotates. Boost is looking a little bad. Pat is the only one with boost, but as we say that, Gavilan picks up a max boost himself, and now the push comes back in for Syracuse, looking to keep the momentum up, keep the train rolling. Stumptavian now tries to send it back towards Syracuse in. The tap from Alex, the pass to Jonzo isn't going to connect as Syracuse now regain control of the ball.
Yeah, no boost though for Georgia Tech.
Oh my God, Pat just able to fly up in the air, throw his car to the left, right around Alec. That ball goes in. Syracuse goes up 3-0, not even halfway through this game 2.
Yeah, I just want to quickly point one thing out, right? I mean, the boost. We saw it from Georgia Tech, you know, It was 0 until the very end when the ball made it into the goal from Pat, when we saw Jonzo get 100, right? There was no boost. They can't find the value to do anything, even on this defensive side. They're playing risky, and I like the risky plays. I like the amount of pressure you're putting onto Syracuse, but you have no follow-up. If there's no follow-up, there is going to be no game.
In the air, Georgia Tech now have to find some responses, but Mason Star throws one in up to Gavilan, hits it back off the right corner. Pat now flies in from absolutely Narnia, off the top, trying to get it in. No one is going to be there to finish it off for Syracuse, but Georgia Tech have to make sure they come out on top of the scramble. You gotta get the ball and you gotta clear it out. You have to stop giving Syracuse so many opportunities to get shots in, to get the ball on the net. As we saw from the save leaders, the teams at the top tended to be the teams that were getting scored on the most. And right now, Georgia Tech has to turn that favor as we're 1 minute and 35 seconds left to go.
I mean, with this, I'm saying a lot of things about boost, but I'm just staring at the boost on the side of Georgia Tech, and it's never above 50%, right? And it's not even the fact that Syracuse is starving them out. I want to make that very clear. Syracuse is not really taking their boost from them. It's just Georgia Tech is just using all of their boost and, in a sense, wasting it.
They're not getting the opportunities, the shots in where they need to go. 1 minute, 10 seconds left now. Georgia Tech trying desperately to get the ball just out of their zone. Forget even scoring. It's hard to score 3 goals in a minute, but if Georgia Tech wants any hope of coming back in this series at all, they have to get something on the board just to show themselves that they can do it.
Yeah, and Georgia Tech, I mean, they're ready to go back in, but unfortunately the ball is back on their side. If they don't waste their boost, this is great for them, right? They have a good shot. The boost is there. It's on the side of Syracuse's field. This is exactly what Georgia Tech needs to do. They have the boost.
Alex hammers it in. Wonderful job, Ryan. You can see that situation coming from a mile away, and that is the type of change that Georgia Tech needs to make.
This is how you're going to see that competitive series, right? This is how you're going to see that game that we saw earlier today, right, in that semifinals with Georgia Tech, right? That's what makes them so powerful. They can adapt, and if you can adapt, you're going to be able to find your way, right? Is it likely that Syracuse is going, that Georgia Tech is going to lose this map? Yes, unfortunately, because you have 28 seconds to score 2 more goals, right? But 3 more goals.
Yeah, but anyway, continue.
Yeah, but like, you now know what you need to do, right? I mean, they kept their boost. They were safe. They made it past the field, and they still all had above 50 boost, right? And they were able to continue forward. They were able to get that shot and follow through. That's what they need to worry about. Continue to try it, right? Continue to work with it, and then go into game number 3 and make sure you do not mess that up.
Rocket League is such a game, right? Think about how many ingredients go into making this game. It's boost, it's a car, and it's balls. Gavilan scores another, make it 5-1. Georgia Tech, right? You're not going to win this game, but it doesn't feel great to score 1 goal. You finally crack the code, but then Syracuse just strike back with 2 quick ones.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess if you're Georgia Tech, right, you might be trying some other things, seeing what works, and I like that from them, right? Unfortunately, you're already 1 down. If you lose this map, you're going to be facing match point.
And you're going to have to reverse sweep if you want to take it.
Exactly, right? And that is the unfortunate part, but I like that they're trying new things because you need to, because if you go back into game number 3 and play the way that you did earlier, no.
It's not going to work. Game 2 goes the way of Syracuse. Just a reminder, this is the grand finals. The winner does have a ticket to the CECC championship in Arlington, Texas. So this is important. Georgia Tech is playing for something big here. Yeah. So is Syracuse. Both of these teams have to make sure they're playing. They're at the top of their game as we move into game 3.
Exactly, right? And now you're match point, right? Syracuse, 1 more, and you've got that bid, right? You are going to get yourselves to that CECC championship there in Arlington, Texas. And I mean, we're up here in New York. It's a little warm down there.
It's a little warm down. It's also it's warm in here. It's warm in this room. This wonderful room that we're in. But I mean, go down to the land of get yourself a steak, get yourself some bread. Texas toast.
No, I mean, get the bread, and there's other ways to get bread too. Get that money, and that's to get an esports degree. Syracuse is coming out with one next fall. That is a great way. Beyond gaming, that's what we are living here for. Casting, management, coaching. Yes. Yeah, you can play too, right? There's so much you can do. Design, artwork, sound, media, so much you can do. That degree is coming out next fall. But before next fall, something much, much quicker is going to come on. And that is going to be game number 3, match point for Syracuse University to get that bid to the CECC championship. Can Georgia Tech bring themselves back, or will it be a sweep for the Syracuse Orange?
Right now, the ball flying up in the air in Georgia Tech's end. Gavilan with a nice double bounce off the edge. ACEC there to respond. Going to send the ball careening up in the sky. Pat right there to meet it. Now, it's going to be a question of who has the rotates, who has the boost. ACEC constantly sitting out. Boost starved, a famine. The boost isn't there, but don't worry because Tavian Robo-Click is there to get the save and get the counter attack going. Jonzo tries to get a shot in on the goal, but no, Syracuse is going to be there on the first touch.
Yep, Syracuse. Now a lot more of a close game, right? We approach 4 minutes. Georgia Tech, Syracuse 0-0. Boost going to be starved on the side of Georgia Tech. Syracuse going to start to bring that back on their side. A demo goes in, will prevent Syracuse from finding really much of anything. The pinch sends it back down to the middle of the field. Georgia Tech can bring this one back. They have the boost to do it, but they need to be careful. They need to make sure this follow-through does not punish them and Syracuse take advantage.
Gavilan now with the ball, trying to push it forward. Pat just to barely tap. The ball just going to miss the goal, but sends it back up into the air. Jonzo does miss the touch, and now Gavilan looking to get the flip reset on the board. It goes in. Gavilan, absolute beauty from the top row, puts Syracuse up in game 3.
I don't care who you are. It doesn't matter if you're SSL. It doesn't matter if you are bronze. A flip reset is the most gorgeous thing to see in a game, especially to such perfection into a goal. Gavilan giving us a stylish clip to send forward for social media, and Syracuse brings themselves up 1-0 in this series. A great way to start. Syracuse is comfortable. They're feeling warm. They're 2 up in this series. They can taste the non-human air of Texas.
Stumptavian Robo-Click wants their chance to go to the land of Robo-Cup. With the save there as the shot was thrown in from Mason Star. Georgia Tech now on the offensive. They just have to find a way through this net that Syracuse is creating. They're creating a net from their rotation, and it feels like Georgia Tech just can't really go through and find an opening.
Yeah, and I mean, with that, right, 3 minutes left, Syracuse is feeling so comfortable right now. They're keeping the pressure on the goal as well. Syracuse has boost. I mean, look at all this. Look at all this boost that they're just playing around with, right?
Wow.
No follow-through comes in from ACEC. The boost falls short. Syracuse can start to send it back.
Back into Georgia Tech's end, it does go, and now Pat looking to get a tap up into the air, maybe just trying to create something crazy. Again, Syracuse doesn't really have to score. If they can just keep the ball in Georgia Tech's end, they will still win this game when the time runs out. Stumptavian looking for the tap, just barely flies up and gets it in. Georgia Tech off of Stumptavian Robo-Click's heroics tie up this game.
What a shot, able to find it just past Pat, and is able to even up this series as we approach just halfway left in this game number 3. Georgia Tech, they're not out of this one yet. The humidity has not rusted up their cars yet in Georgia, but they are still have so much to go for if they want to make it to Texas.
Gavilan now tries to send it back to equalize it, but ACEC, the goal scorer, sends one in. Mason Star is there. It's not going to find it that easily, ACEC. You gotta maybe just try again, see if you can squeeze one through. And now ACEC is doing just that, but Gavilan is going to be right there to send that ball up in the air and disrupt what Georgia Tech is trying to do. And Jonzo flies up, but does miss the contest. Now midfield, Jonzo almost had a prime opportunity to try and get a shot off, but now it's going to go right back to Syracuse. Georgia Tech sent one's in, but ACEC is there to save. Gavilan tries to get the double tap off the top of the crossbar, but it's not going to quite land. Syracuse now skirmishing in front of the net, but Georgia Tech looks like they're going to take it. ACEC just taking the ball right towards Syracuse's end before they then hit it back out to Georgia Tech's side.
Yeah, and with a minute and a half left, we have an even series. Syracuse not running away with this one, right? They're still even, they're close, and Georgia Tech can bring this one back in their favor. They're playing a little bit more conservative with that boost. They're playing a little bit better on these follow-throughs, forcing Syracuse to play a little bit more passive on that defense, and it's putting Georgia Tech in a good spot. But as we approach 1 minute left here, Danny, the final goal could be any second.
It could be. Syracuse now looking to make that second be now, but ACEC doesn't want to respond, flips it up, but is down in the process. Mason is able to get there to stop that ball from going into the net. Now Gavilan flies, gets the speed, but Alec is right there, back up into the air. Gavilan sends it. Now looking to hit Jonzo out of the way. The ball just goes right up into the top of the air. Gavilan, Patrick play off of each other, bounces off the wall. 45 seconds left. Mason start looking in. Is anybody there? Will he go in? Off the top, Gavilan sends it in and gives Syracuse a 2-1 lead.
This could be it. We've seen such a close match in this game number 3, with Syracuse being up 1 goal now. 43 seconds left. It's going to be difficult. Georgia Tech has 43 seconds to make that goal. You were talking about mountains earlier, Danny, but here's the deal. Georgia Tech's got to climb the entire Blue Ridge mountain range to bring this one back in their favor. You've got to hit the reverse sweep. You've got to find the goal.
Finds another. Put Syracuse that much closer. If they win this game, they are going to Texas, and it just got a whole lot harder for Georgia Tech.
Syracuse wants to go from the cold, dry air to the warm, dry air of Texas. 2-goal lead, 36 seconds left. Georgia Tech, now you do not play for smarts. You do not play for follow-throughs. You play for risk, and you play for reward, because that is the only way you're going to find your way back with 30 seconds left.
Syracuse, the best defense, is a good offense, just trying to keep the pressure on, keep Georgia Tech in their own zone, but Alec slips it right back up in the goal. Alec, the leading goal scorer of this tournament, evens it up quickly, and Georgia Tech, they're right back in it, Ryan.
21 seconds. All Georgia Tech needs is to make one more goal, and we'll approach in overtime, Danny. It is right here. You can taste the victory for Syracuse, but Georgia Tech does not want to give them that 5-course meal yet. They want to make it difficult. They want to show them a run for their money. Gavilan's going to send it to the middle of the field. 15 seconds. Georgia Tech needs to take control of this ball if they want a chance to win.
Alec is going to do just that, getting the ball back into Syracuse's end. The timer takes down 9, 8, 7. Samtavian Robo-Quick tries to get the shot in. Alec hits it back out. All this ball has to do is touch the ground, and Syracuse are going to Texas. Is anybody going to be there? Oh. Alec keeps it up in the air. The ball's just got to touch. It's just got to touch, but Pat right there to hit it back off. Is anybody going to get there? No! Syracuse punch their ticket to Arlington, Texas, and win the ACEC Qualifier tournament.
Syracuse Orange Auto and the Orange team will be getting themselves a bid to the CECC Championship Qualifier down in Arlington, Texas. A different time zone, some much warmer weather, some great steaks, some great bread. Syracuse has found their way there. Not only found their way there, but found their way through one of the most dominant performances I've ever seen.
Dropped one map in the group stage, then proceeds to not drop a game the rest of the series. Syracuse showing why they are the creme de la creme in the ACEC.
Yeah, and I mean, that's one of the things with Syracuse, right, is they've been playing together for so long, right? For so long they've been together. They know that synergy. They know the passing and the trust you have in your teammates, right? I'm not going to make this shot, but I trust you. And that trust really shows.
It really does. It's really beautiful to see what you can kind of see at a team's peak.
Absolutely.
And this is Syracuse's peak. This tournament, as we watch some of the highlights, this tournament in Arlington is going to be their last dance, so to speak.
Yeah.
This is going to be the last chance for these 3 guys who have been playing together for their entire, I mean, forget collegiate esports career. These guys have been friends for the last 4 years of college. And this is now, they get the opportunity to show what they've learned and how far they've come on land in Texas.
I mean, what a way, right, to go out, right? Going out with a bang. You're not done yet, right? You get to have a wonderful LAN experience together to really finish it off, right? And that outside of, you know, the amazing plays that Syracuse did, that is such a heartwarming story, right? For 4 years, you've been friends, you've been together on a collegiate team, and now you get to, all of this has led up to the one final tournament, one final LAN, and you get to go travel to it. I mean, like, that is an origin story. That is the peak of the mountain.
And that's why you do it, to climb that mountain, to get to the top. But the road is not done. Syracuse, they just climbed this mountain, but they looked up and they saw a bigger one on the horizon.
Absolutely.
They walk over to that. Big thanks to Esports U and CECC for making this whole thing happen. Big thanks to everybody involved in the whole process. I mean, production, Crew, and this could not have happened without an obscene effort from so many people.
Yeah, and then of course the teams, right? I mean, the joys of this tournament, right? They're all ACC member teams, and they got to compete in this tournament and really just show that, you know, esports is a lot bigger than people think it is.
Yep.
Right? I mean, this was just the tip of the iceberg, really, of collegiate esports, right? We had 7 teams, 7 very, very good teams, but not even close to how many are out there, right?
Yep.
How many collegiate teams are out there, and this was only just a small little taste of it, right? And that's the joy, right? And that's one of the amazing things about esports is as it grows, as the degree here at Syracuse grows as well next fall, right? There's so many things that you get to do outside of competition. This industry is going to grow, it is going to flourish, and that's the joy.
And it starts in small places like this. It starts. It starts.
It
with,
is smart.
It starts with the crew. It starts with people setting things up in an office. Yep. It starts with people who care, and we care, and everybody who played in this tournament showed up. That means they care. Everybody who watched this gave their time to esports, right? That's impressive.
It is. I mean, you know, here's the thing, right? Esports, we're an entertainment and media industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the thing. So, you know, yes, we thank the production, we thank the staff, the crew, the tournament organizers, the players, we thank them all. But frankly, esports is not esports without the people who watch it, without the fans.
Then you're just playing video games in your room.
Exactly. You know, which, I mean...
Which we still, don't get me wrong, we still do.
Listen, I want to go back and play some games later.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to play Rocket League and realize there's a reason
me.
I'm not here.
Yeah, right. That's what always happens. You see something like this, you're like, I'm going to go play, and then you load it up, and you're like...
That's why I'm behind the desk.
That's why I'm behind the desk, exactly. But I do think that is going to wrap it up for us. Again, big thank you to the Esports U and the CECC. Syracuse, get the bid to the CECC Championship in Arlington, Texas. Big shouts out to everybody behind the scenes. Sean Kelly, the wonderful, wonderful broadcast GOAT, put this whole thing together. A million other names that I are escaping me at this moment. I've had a blast.
Yeah, I have too. And like you said, that is... that's frankly, it's going to wrap it up, right? No interviews this time around, but I mean, stay tuned because, you know, Syracuse, and we do a lot of stuff here, and eventually one day, you know, you'll see some
Shouts out
stuff.
to the Valorant team currently competing in the CVAL playoffs at this moment. Sure, if you're technologically literate, you could find some channel to watch that on. But yeah, I mean, that's going to do it for us. So we thank, above all, we thank you for watching and for spending your afternoon with us. This has been our presentation of the ACEC Qualifier Tournament. Thank you so very much for watching and have a wonderful rest of your day.